Well, it's still 7:03, and we will get the meeting started. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Oakland Mills Community Association Village Board. We have a couple of administrative items to open the meeting before we get into our agenda. And the first is to approve the minutes from our October 11th board meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? Motion from Lynn. Is there a second? Second from Jerome. Any discussion of those minutes? All in favor of approving? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oppose? Abstain? Okay, so it's 4-0-1, Amy. For the record, Bill wasn't at the last meeting. He's not protesting the minutes or anything. All right, next up is approval of the agenda for tonight's board meeting. Is there a motion to approve? I saw Jerome's hand first. I'll take Lynn as the second. Is there a second, Lynn?
Yes, a second.
Yes, I'll take you as the second. Any discussion of tonight's agenda? All right, all in favor of approving tonight's agenda? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 0. Okay, we are underway. Next up, we have resident remarks. If you would like to make remarks to the board, you have up to 3 minutes to make your remarks. Please go ahead and use the hand raise feature in Zoom, and I will call on you in the order that Zoom identifies you raised your hand. Or if the hand raise feature isn't working, I'll just call on you because I see you raising your hand down there.
I don't know where the hand is. I don't like Zoom.
Sorry.
I looked down at that part of the screen and I started to see the desperation. I don't know where. All right. Is there anyone else wishing to speak tonight? Okay. I hope I don't botch your name, Ms. Nefield Batiz.
Oh my God, that's excellent. That's
all right.
Perfect.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you 3 minutes on my little timer here that no one else can see, but I'll give you a 30-second warning,
Okay.
and you can start whenever you're ready.
Okay. You know, I don't know if this is the right space to voice my opinion of the scooters. I don't know if there's a separate scooter agenda, but they're a pain in my behind. I have them all over my sidewalk, my driveway. I back out of the morning, they've been left behind me. I have to take the time to move them. I have to call the company 2-3 times a week. I have one right now sitting out front of my house that's been there for a week. I've called them twice. And this is repeatedly over and over. I think it's a great idea for like downtown, or maybe at the college, but I don't understand why they're in Oakland Mills and in a residential community. They're the people that are using them, I'm assuming, as I haven't seen them, I believe are probably young people. And they're riding them. They're just riding them from, it's not like they're going to a class or maybe they're taking it to the store. They're just riding around the bike paths. They're all over the bike paths. I have to stop with my dog. I have to move them out of the way. It's not good. The other day the other evening I came home. It was dark. It was laying on the ground and there's leaves falling. I didn't see it. I almost broke my neck tripping over it. I've caught the company repeatedly to come pick them up. And that's another thing. It's a waste of my time. I have to stop, I have to move them, and then I have to call it again and pick up. And again, there's one right now, it's been sitting out in front of my house since last Wednesday. And that's just not acceptable. I don't mind them if you want to keep them downtown to scoot around. Hey, never mind. But please take them out of the neighborhood. That's all. That's all my 2 cents is.
Thank you.
Currently, can I just say something about the questionnaire survey?
Was there? I never saw a questionnaire.
Amy, where can she find it?
I was going to put it in the chat. I was about
Well,
to.
they said they weren't posting it until after their meeting tonight.
Well, I'm going to.
They posted already?
Actually, I can't chat with anyone but Sandy for some reason. But I was going to post
Oh, I don't know why.
I was going to post the website for the pilot where they're going to post the survey after tonight's meeting.
And will that would that be, like, if I don't stay here through the whole meeting, how would I?
Well,
Send me an email and I'll
ha-
send it to you tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
hang on, Sandy, can you
Oh.
put this
I don't
link I just
have
sent
it.
you into
Oh.
the chat? So there's good news and bad news. The good news is there's actually a virtual hearing with testimony on the scooters, as well as an email address where you can send feedback. The bad news is that virtual hearing is happening right now, and the time to send testimony was 9 o'clock, no later than
Oh,
9 o'clock this
no.
morning. The
Oh.
good news is that, as I think Amy just said, after that meeting concludes tonight, the county is going to post a survey link on the site where they were taking the testimony and providing the WebEx link for the
Oh.
meeting. So the link I just sent to Sandy to put into the chat, if it will work, is the link to that site for the scooter pilot.
Oh, okay. I knew there was, I knew it was somewhere. Okay.
If you have my email.
Yeah, I have yours, Sandy. I can just email you if it might
Yeah,
be
because I
easier.
cannot copy and paste it either, this chat thing.
Well, and
so-
I don't, Zoom must have changed something again, because
Yeah.
I can only chat with you. I can't send something out to everyone in the meeting anymore.
Wow.
Lisa, do you get our emails, the
I
e-news?
do.
It's
I
in
got
that today. It's
Yeah.
in there, right, Amy?
Yeah, I saw
Is it-
something. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I remember seeing something about a meeting. I couldn't remember where it was or what Zoom
Might
it was
be
in.
there. Look at that too. I think the link might be in there.
Okay, but all I have to do is go on that and I could just post do this. Okay, that's fine.
We're gonna put it on the website too, Amy. said.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Sandy.
Uh-huh.
That's all I had.
All right, thanks. Rebecca, did you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I was just curious. You don't have to give me specifics, but sorry, my kids are sharpening pencils right next to me right now. You don't have to give me specifics, but where do you live?
I live on Farewell Road, and it's probably halfway between Stevens Forest and Oakland Mills. It's probably exactly halfway. And so I'm wondering, because it seemed my house seems to accumulate all the bikes or the scooters.
You might be the border.
I
Yeah.
think I'm the lucky recipient. I mean,
There's
I'm not
four.
kidding. One day there were two. The next day it was like they were multiplying. I had three. One day I had four of them. So I thought to myself, from wherever their starting point is, I must be the part where their battery runs out. They just dump them. Lucky
Well,
me.
they stop at the border. Like you can't ride them past that. So if the border is at your house, then you're riding along and then they stop and then,
Oh.
abandon
Lucky
ship
you.
and I'll carry on walking. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. I'm at the border crossing.
I don't know, but that makes sense. If you don't have anything major around you of why people would be stopping there, then that makes
You're
sense.
right. There's nothing. It's not like I'm next to the school or the path. I mean, it's nothing. It's just,
Yeah.
No,
weird.
I think that may be a border, because I see a lot of them along Farewell too. And remember, Farewell is the border between Oakland Mills and Owen Brown, and it doesn't stretch into Owen Brown. So the border is probably right around the power
That's
lines
neat.
there.
Oh, how about that? Yep. Hey.
Build a
that's
wall.
Build a wall. No,
So maybe
no.
expanding the border would help because then people could continue on to their actual destination.
I don't
Well,
think
not
that
your house.
we
Yes.
wanted the destination to be like going over the bridge into Blandier Park, not
Well,
on
that
us.
would be great. Right. That would make sense. But apparently it's stopping at my house. So that would make sense if you could take it and ride it to the park. And then maybe there's some place over there that they can charge it again.
Yeah,
But
well, whatever, but that was the plan for going through Oakland Mills to get to the
Oh.
village center and the park.
yeah, well, that makes sense. Unfortunately, it's stopping at 9466 Farewell Road.
Go on, look at the emails and we'll,
Yeah.
put your
Okay.
comments down.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I went to the Walgreens today at Twin Knolls Road and 175th, and there's like 4 parked in front of the Walgreens.
It's another,
Well, they start to
Border.
multiply.
Another border
the-
crossing.
Yeah, they seem to start to multiply.
okay.
I had
Been
one
there for
follow me
about
to
a week.
DC. Well, and actually that's what frustrates me, because from the explanation I got, that spin company is supposed to collect them if they've been sitting somewhere for more than a couple of days. And maybe maybe part of the feedback is the county just needs to find a better vendor, because I have found Spin to be completely unresponsive. Their email address bounced back when I try to contact them, and you can leave a phone message, but no one ever calls back or, you know, even follows up on the information you left them in the message. So to me, it would be a shame if just having the wrong vendor sort of, you know, spoils it for everyone because they don't like tripping over scooters everywhere.
Right.
All right. Anyone else for speak out? Okay, we're going to move on to new business, and our only new business item is the quick review. We don't make decisions tonight, but it's the quick review of donation requests received by our October 15th deadline under our modified donation policy. And we, oh, look at that. Wow. And we had 3 requests.
4.
I'm sorry, 4 requests. I don't, my brain's just not working today. As of right now, we have $5,000 in the donation expense line. Of course, we reserve the right to review that, especially as we get toward the end of the year and see what our finances look like. But for now, it's 5,000. We have, I guess I would call them some of the usual suspects requesting donations. Oakland Mills United, Stevens Forest PTA, Oakland Mills High PTSA, and of course the Oakland Mills High Fine Arts Boosters. Full disclosure, since I always seem to have to make one of these disclosures going back to my earliest years on the board, I'm no longer on the board of the Stevens Forest PTA. I am on the board of Oakland Mills United and the Oakland Mills Fine Arts Boosters. However, I do not have anything to do with donation requests. I step away from that so that I can consider them here without, you know, having been a part of putting together the request or sending the communication into the village. So I find out what these organizations are asking for when the rest of you find out what they're asking for. So Oakland Mills United is kind of similar to some of the stuff they asked for last year. Because they are a, you know, complete nonprofit and fairly new nonprofit organization. They still have the typical administrative costs that they're trying to cover. And because they work with children, you know, they have costs that some others don't have around background checks, because they background check all of their volunteers, as well as the other usual administrative costs like their website and, you know, mailbox insurance, things like that. And then, of course, they have student programming. The Stevens Forest PTA is still looking to fund STEAM-related events for the school. I think we did supply kits for the science fair last year, so they're looking for that again, as well as field trip experiences. The Oakland Mills High PTSA has come in with the usual request to support after prom. And what they try to do with the Oakland Mills High PTSA is get as much funding as possible for after prom to make that as low cost as possible to the students, because they want Oakland Mills High students coming to their after prom event after the prom, rather than going off and doing other less supervised, less sane things. And then, of course, the Fine Arts Boosters, I believe, has come back with a similar list to what they sent last year. They're certainly not expecting anything close to $20,000, but they prioritize in order of importance based on what the school's performing arts needs are this year. And really, the school's performing arts needs are very similar to last year's needs because they're so large. So those are the 4 we've received. And what we normally do is obviously, if there are any questions that we want to get back to any of these organizations, we usually raise them at this first meeting so that Sandy can send communications back and get clarifications on anything we're unsure of. Sandy then sends them to us over the course of the couple of weeks between meetings, so that we can make fully informed decisions about what we want to fund and to what level when we meet again and bring this back as old business in November. Any questions or any discussion on any of these requests now?
Yeah,
Lynn?
I know that with, oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Nick.
sorry, Jerome, I saw Lynn's hand first.
I was just wondering if, and I'm not seeing, I looked this over this afternoon, this list, but when somebody asks, when an organization asks for the $20,000, can we ask them, or even the 2,000, can we ask them to sort of prioritize? So if you're
They
going,
did, the bottom one.
did they?
Well, the bottom one is fine arts
Okay,
in
that
order
is.
of importance.
Yeah,
Okay, but then going up, like
Yeah.
for if we, you know, how much would it be for the after prom event and how much for the teacher appreciation, staff appreciation activities? And likewise, I guess there's something about science kits versus campus beautification. I mean, I
Okay.
think that would be helpful if they kind of broke that out. And I didn't read the support letters carefully, but it didn't seem to me that that included any kind of a breakout.
Okay.
yeah, we can certainly ask for a breakout similar to what the fine arts boosters have done the past. Actually, I think the fine arts boosters did it this way this year because we asked them to do that last year as a follow-up. So I think they're now in the habit of that, but we can do that with the others.
Good.
All right, Jerome, and then Rebecca.
I guess the only question I had is, with all this pre and post COVID stuff going on, are the schools back to doing field trips? Because I have no
Yes.
problem. Okay. That was the only question I had.
Yes. Actually, I chaperoned one last year for the Stevens Forest Elementary, so they were even back to it last year. They're basically the schools are, you know, as close to completely back to normal as you can be back to normal. You might still see a few students or teachers running around wearing masks or something, but other than that, they're doing everything they used to do now.
Okay.
Rebecca?
Oh, I just noticed it seems like we have a short list. We're missing like some usuals like Oakland Mills Online and Sleep in Heavenly Peace. Any indication? I mean, I assume that's a good thing that they're not asking for money, or did we have a shorter deadline this year that they missed it, or?
It's been the same deadline every year since we first established that policy. And I know Sandy put reminders in the the newsletter, the email blasts.
For a
So
while, yeah.
yeah, so yeah,
Okay.
I'm not going to say that this means there's not need out there, but you know, for whatever reason, these are the 4 that came in.
And nothing from grassroots this time, maybe because last
No.
time we said you didn't give us
Mhm.
enough information.
Yeah, this was it. That's not to say that if we find some more money in the spring and open it up again, others won't come in, but
Sure.
yeah, with the standard reminders that Sandy puts in the newsletter and everything, this is what we got. Actually, we were talking a little bit about this at the education meeting because we thought, at the very least, the school organization should be used to October 15th because they've, it's been year after year for many years. And obviously, 3 of them were Stevens Forest and Oakland Mills High, but, we were kind of surprised not to hear from the other 3 schools in the village.
And we've made a practice of not contacting people and saying you didn't. Instead, we put it in the e-news, that we send another Facebook bulletin out. Things that we do every year.
Yeah. Lynn?
Yeah, just a reminder to ourselves that if we partially fund, anything we partially fund, we can, of course, let them know that they're welcome to resubmit again at the end of the year if we have any other money.
Hopefully I'm not getting this wrong because I missed the meeting when we redid the policy, but if I recall, we didn't ask those who asked by the 15th to resubmit. We automatically gave them reconsideration because we just kept their unfunded amounts on file.
Better yet. Yeah, good.
Yeah, I know for sure that's what we did last year, unless we put some language in the policy that we won't do that again, but that would actually be my preference because, we'll already have all the information we need. Why make them incur more administrative time to ask us again.
Yeah, I agree. Great.
Well, Jonathan, could
Yes,
they ask again or add an addendum if there was something different that they wanted in
I-
the spring?
I'd have to pull up the policy, but I think so. I don't
Okay.
think we have anything that says
Okay,
if we have it to give and we put out another call, I don't think we have anything that that prohibits them. It seems to me that would be the fair way to go, because you know, if the Fine Arts Boosters gave us a $20,000 list and Oakland Mills United gave us 750, but they come up with another 1,000 in the spring, then you know, everyone should have the opportunity to
Right.
ask for what they need, and it's up to us what we want to do with that.
right.
Lynn?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have a lot of questions. Is Oakland Mills Online, is Oakland Mills United part of Oakland Mills Online or vice versa?
No, Oakland Mills United is actually completely independent now because they got their 501c3 determination letter last year. They were, I think you may be thinking that because one of the years they came in, they were affiliated with Oakland Mills Online because they didn't have their 501c3, so Oakland Mills Online was serving as their financial sponsor.
Mhm. Yes, okay, thanks.
And I don't know whether I don't know whether OMU sent their determination letter in or they gave it to us last year. I know for the PTAs and the boosters, we probably have them on file from all the other years. I don't recall when Oakland Mills United got theirs or whether they've sent it to us, but
Oh, I have
we
it.
can, oh, you have it. Okay. Okay.
I think it's a part of the attachment, actually.
Okay. All right. I didn't
Um,
remember. I looked at that when it came out and then quickly got busy at work and forgot everything I looked at, including what day it was and that we had an education
Yeah,
meeting
it
until
goes
about
down
mid-afternoon.
here and then everyone's attachments
Oh
are
yeah,
with
there
it.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, very good. Any other questions? Lynn, one follow-up question I have for you. I agree with going back and asking for them to break things out. I know sometimes with these groups, they don't necessarily know exactly how much it's going to cost because sometimes they fund up to what they have. So if they have a little, they cut back. And if they have a lot, you know, they do more. So if they can't come up with precise, what a prioritization or some estimates do. Okay.
Priorities, that's what I
Okay.
was looking for.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking of something like I don't even know. I'm not at Stevens Forest anymore, but like for their science fair, probably
Mhm.
what they would do is they would, bring in Bill Nye the Science Guy if they had $200,000, or they would, do cardboard trifolds if they have $200.
Right.
All right. Anything else on this topic? All right. So Sandy, you have the follow-up questions for a couple of the requesters, and then is this one of those times where we have 3 weeks between board meetings, or are we? No, we're on a 2-week cycle, aren't we?
I have no idea what month it is.
Let me look. I just want to make sure that you set a deadline for
Let
them
me
to
look.
reply so that we get, just set an appropriate deadline for them to reply so that we then
November
have
8th.
enough time to look at their responses
Right.
before we walk into the next board meeting.
It's 2 weeks, so I'll just ask them to get it to us by next Wednesday.
Okay.
I'll send it out tomorrow.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, on to old business. First item on old business is Stevens Forest roadway and safety improvement discussion. And unfortunately, Warren isn't here. So I mentioned last time about the crash in front of Stevens Forest Elementary and the request from the PTA that we take another look. Warren and I did meet a representative of the I can't talk, a representative of the PTA on site just before dismissal at 3 o'clock the Friday before last. And we basically kind of watched the road and watched how things unfolded, at 3 before a half hour before school dismisses. And, then we sort of watched, I wish we had like time lapse photography or something, people started pulling up on the southbound side of Stevens Forest Road and parking legally in the parking spots. And then kids started darting across the road, and parents and guardians started darting across the road. And, before you know it, it was the, I guess what I would call the usual for that stretch of road when school is dismissing. We also noticed that, well, it was a beautiful day, so it wasn't it wasn't as bad as it had been earlier that week when it rained. But we, even on a beautiful day, we noticed that there was a lot of stuff going on that makes it dangerous there. Even if everyone is completely obeying the speed limit on Stevens Forest Road, doing everything right, people are just literally, darting in and out of traffic to avoid that carpool lane, or to stay on that southbound side of Stevens Forest Road, or even to go like to Camelback, because people will park on the corner there at Camelback and dart across the road. So we had a nice conversation with the gentleman from the PTA, and then Warren and I stayed around and took a little walk down to the crossing guards at Kilimanjaro. And we talked to the crossing guards at Kilimanjaro, one of whom I think is sort of well known to some members of the board, Miss Bernie. She's been there forever. And she and her partner were there. And basically, Warren and I went through the list of all the things we saw as problems, and they agreed with, everything on the list, because they basically stand at the corner of Kilimanjaro and look down toward the school and watch what happens. Unfortunately, Warren isn't here, and he and I still need to put this down for all of you. But there are several ideas we've come up with that we want to present to the board, and then probably take to the county as almost a follow-up, really a follow-up to the earlier letters we've sent about conditions on Stevens Forest Road. Among those are whether I'm sorry. There are several things. One is, whether there can be periods of increased enforcement. So on the north side of Stevens Forest Road, a previous village board working with the PTA had the whole stretch from the entrance to the school all the way down to Kilimanjaro marked no standing, no stopping, no nothing. That's supposed to be through travel. And people still go just past the school and then basically stop in the travel lane, basically from Camelback Lane down to Kilimanjaro, and pick kids up at the side of the road, which causes other traffic to swerve into oncoming traffic and creates visibility issues. So, we thought, obviously the police can't be there all the time, but if there was some, periodic enforcement to maybe give that stretch of road the reputation of, hey, if you do something here, there's a higher likelihood you'll get cited. You don't know when they're going to be around, but they come around. We thought that could be a helpful thing. We also thought that for the southbound side of the road where parking is legal, jaywalking is still not legal. So, could there be some jaywalking enforcement? And I had reached out to Officer Paul, and he did say he was going to try to come by and not necessarily cite people, but maybe have conversations with people, talk about not only what's legal, but also what's safe, for your children. So that was another one. Another thing we talked about, and I actually reached out to one resident on that side of the road to get some thoughts, was whether, and I don't know whether Howard County does this, but whether that side of the road across from the school could be labeled as a no standing, no stopping, no parking zone during certain hours on school days, or whether that could just become a no parking zone except for like a residential permit. Warren and I didn't even know whether Howard County does that or whether it's just, no parking 100% of the time or parking 100% of the time. But if we could somehow take away the legal parking on the opposite side of the road, then again, it takes enforcement, but the police could move people along, because right now you can park there perfectly legally and sit. And the only part that's illegal is the jaywalking part. But we saw people pull up at 3 o'clock and sit there for 40 minutes. I don't know why you would pull up there and sit for 40 minutes instead of just sitting in the carpool lane because it wasn't backed up, but they do. They just sit there, and eventually we watch them block 2 residents' driveways, and I'm surprised the residents aren't getting very annoyed with that. So I was actually wondering whether the residents would be supportive of that. And I did reach out to one who I know, and I said, how would you feel? How do you think your neighbors would feel? Because it's really, I think, 4 houses that would be affected. The last house before the bend in the road is already no parking. So I think it's like 4 houses from the corner of Camelback south. And he said, well, one neighbor does have, children who drive. They have several cars, and sometimes they are home during the day. Warren and I didn't see anyone park there other than people picking up for the school the day we were there. But, sometimes residents do. And he's the one who said, probably we'd all want to do what's safest for the kids at the school and for the community. But if there could be a way of getting like a residential parking exception for certain vehicles, that might be the preferable way to go, because some cars, do belong there because they belong to the houses. So I said, okay, we'll follow up on that, take that into consideration, and include that in what Warren and I put together. The other thing we noted was we think that the county may have made a mistake or overlooked something with their signage and their speed restrictions. If you are approaching the school from the south, coming up northbound on northbound Stevens Forest Road, as you're approaching the neighborhood center and pool, there's a sign that flashes that says it's a school speed limit zone. So the sign comes on and flashes during arrival and dismissal. It drops the speed limit to 25 miles per hour. I don't know if it doubles the fines, but it's increased fines and everything. So you get that warning there. We walked to Kilimanjaro Road. From Kilimanjaro Road south to the school, all there is a 30-mile-per-hour speed sign. There's nothing telling you there's a sign telling you you've left a school zone because you've left the middle school. There's nothing telling you you've entered another school zone, nothing telling you that the speed limit has dropped in the school zone, no flashing lights, no nothing. So we think this is actually just sort of an oversight on the county's part, where they put the end school zone sign for the middle school and never put a new start school zone sign for the elementary school. There is a sign further up Stevens Forest Road. So if you're coming from like Santiago or Jacob's Ladder, you'll see it. But there's a gap. It's almost like they forgot that people can enter Stevens Forest Road southbound from Kilimanjaro, and there's no sign. So what Warren and I thought, and the crossing guards agreed, was if someone turns off of Kilimanjaro and goes speeding down Stevens Forest, because that's the straightaway that goes right past the school where you can pick up speed. Probably if they were cited, they'd get away with it because they could just point to the lack of any signs telling them that they were in a school zone. Nothing tells them to slow down to 25 if they're coming off of Kilimanjaro onto to Stevens Forest at dismissal. So we noted that, and we also noted a post where they have a 30-mile-per-hour sign where they could also erect either one of those flashing signs or a 25-mile-per-hour sign. The other thing we talked about whether they should consider is just dropping the speed limit on Stevens Forest Road from 25 miles from about the four-way stop at Santiago, Camelback, and Stevens Forest, down past the school and past that crosswalk by the pool. Just make it a full-time 25-mile-per-hour stretch there instead of having to worry with, school zone, no school zone. So those are and Warren might have a few others. We were out and about, so we weren't like taking down notes or anything. That's the stuff I jotted down when I got home. So I'd want to check with Warren when he's back to see if he had other notes. But that's what I had, from my recollection after I walked home and jotted down everything that we discussed. Lynn?
Yeah, I noticed the lack of the flashing light the other day when I was coming from the village center back to my house. And I think lowering the speed limit in general through that stretch is a good idea, but I think the flashing light really calls your attention to the safety issues. So I'd
Yes.
go for both.
Okay.
If we could get it. If not, I'd say let's go with the flashing light, because that's
Okay.
notice.
Yeah. And Warren and I can put, something together in draft and send it around. Oh, the other thing, I have that here. The other thing was I asked the representative of the PTA whether he thought either the PTA or the school or both would be open to having like a representative of the traffic enforcement division of the police come into a school event. Not do something, not a PTA meeting, because not many people attend those, but like one of the big events, like maybe the science fair or something like that, and kind of opening it up or closing it down or something with a safety talk, to help people realize the dangers. Because we're so surrounded by signs. If you look carefully on Stevens Forest Road, you can't go more than 15 or 20 feet without encountering another sign. And sometimes I think it's just, sign overload, and should any of this be taken seriously? And maybe if the police could come in and say, this is serious, never mind, the cost of the citation for parking illegally or speeding or jaywalking or whatever. Here's what happens when even a vehicle doing the legal speed limit unfortunately runs into a pedestrian, jaywalking or, crossing against the light or something. Everyone needs to be aware. So the representative of the PTA said, no, yeah, he thinks they would be open to that, and he thinks that would be a good idea, because what the school tries to do is they put it out in their newsletter that they send on Fridays, and people don't read that to the end. It doesn't do much. Lynn?
Whatever happened to safety patrols in the schools? Do they still have them? I mean, I remember that having, my fellow classmates getting up at school assemblies and talking about a safe way to cross the street and how
they still have that. The fifth, it's sponsored by AAA, and the fifth graders do it. I don't know whether they get up and talk to their classmates or anything, but they wear their sashes, and they actually line like the carpool line in front of the school. They're obviously not putting them out on Stevens Forest Road or anything, but they still have them.
Okay, good.
After Rebecca, can I go? Because my hand keeps coming
Yeah.
down.
Rebecca, I don't know why your hand's coming down. I
I
can't
don't
lower
know. I
any
thought
hand.
you kept telling me to not raise my hand or something.
No, I can't lower hands or anything.
Just, I think I've said this before. I love the idea of lowering the speed limit. But the truth is that the data shows that speed limits and signs don't affect driving change. What changes how people drive is designing the road differently, narrowing the road, making, bumps. I know we can't do that on Stevens Forest, but you have to physically change drivers' behavior. Just the threat of tickets doesn't do it, and speed limits don't do it. So we really need to push for that full workup of Stevens Forest, especially outside the village center, where a lot of the speeding starts from, as they race down towards that direction, going south.
You just reminded me of something else Warren and I talked about. It's not a physical narrowing of the road, it's a psychological one, but I believe it's been shown to work.
Yeah.
Asking the county to paint thicker lines, thicker double yellow, thicker
yeah.
shoulder.
That
And
happened on
it
108.
actually, it psychologically narrows the lanes, even though these aren't true barriers. It makes people feel more confined and they slow down.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
today I was trying to cross, it's not right there, but it's over at, across the village center to the 29 bridge that we've talked about before. And I play Frogger on my bike all the time. I darted across, but these poor high school kids were waiting on that corner to cross for, I don't know, maybe 6 minutes, just with cars, coming fast and being far away and them, being safe, but it was impossible for them to cross there.
Mhm.
So that whole, we need to make it better over there.
Yes.
I have one thing. When you pull out of the carpool lane onto Stevens Forest Road, not making excuses for why people park other places, is it hard to turn left onto Stevens Forest from the carpool lane? And could that be why parents don't even want to go in the carpool lane?
It certainly can be hard. And it becomes a bit of a vicious cycle, because once people start parking opposite the school and then parking literally on the corner at Camelback, it it makes it harder, which could then cause more people to try to try to avoid that. So yeah, it almost becomes like a chicken and egg situation there. But all of our schools have left turns out onto 2-lane roads. Now, not all those roads are necessarily as busy as Stevens Forest Road. But there does seem to be a special kind of craziness that goes on Stevens Forest Road for, reasons I can't completely diagnose.
And 108 has thicker lanes now,
Mhm.
and it's really noticeable. So
Yeah.
that is a good suggestion to put in your letter too.
Now, one thing I have noticed, because I've obviously, my kids were at that school for many years until this year. There are a number of people who park on that southbound side of Stevens Forest, and then after they get the kids in the car, they U-turn across traffic and go north. So it's not they're all parking on the southbound side because they're going south after they get the kids. Some of them are, but a good number of them end up U-turning and heading north. So that just kind of compounds the hazard. And again, that chicken and egg makes it harder for the people coming out of the carpool lane, because you don't know if that car that just passed in front of you is about to loop back and hit you as you make your turn. Amy?
Yeah, is there, because I know Oakland Mills High School has a cop who actually directs the traffic in the morning when people are trying to turn left out of there and it gets crazy. So is there a reason why they can't have that at Stevens Forest Elementary School?
Is that the school resource officer who's doing that? I'll find
Yeah,
out who it is.
It probably is, but I'm just wondering if they can have something similar for Stevens Forest Road, because if they had somebody there directing traffic, that would also maybe discourage people from actually like parking there.
Yeah. No, that's a good question. I assume that it's the school resource officer at the high school, just helping out and not someone from the traffic detail, but we can ask.
Talbot Springs has what you're talking about, Amy. I don't know who they are, but I know they do
have
have
a
one.
crossing guard right there. I don't know if they have somebody direct. Well, I don't know. It's with the new school.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're right. I don't know
They have a
about the new
crossing
school,
guard.
but he used to be right in front of the school. Oh, because there's a crosswalk there. So
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
why,
'cause
yeah,
we have.
you're right.
I'm over by
It's-
Cradle Rock, and we have a traffic. We have two crossing guards right out there. I mean, we have people that come in our neighborhood all the time and park in the no stop, no stand spaces. It's just crazy, and they only come in and enforce it maybe once a year. People just
Yeah,
crazy.
Talbot Springs and Stevens Forest have staggered start and dismissal times because they're so close together. So the crossing guards start at Talbot Springs right in front, because that's where their crosswalk is. And then after Talbot Springs, they move over to Kilimanjaro to serve Stevens Forest. The reason they're not directly in front of Stevens Forest is there's no legal marked crossing in front of Stevens Forest. That the county had already determined that the stretch of road directly in front of Stevens Forest is not suitable for crossing, so they wouldn't put a crosswalk there, and they won't obviously station crossing guards where there's not a crossing.
And that's why I ask about the traffic
But
cop, because that's what they
traffic
have at
police, yeah.
Kilimanjaro. There's no crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Warren and I will try to find time to get together and put thoughts down, as well as the additional thoughts that have come out of this meeting, to get something before the board. All right, the other item on old business was the school systems capital improvement program, just in case we need it. I guess the good news is we don't need that item tonight. I believe the county council meets on, is it Halloween? I think it's the 31st, right? I think that's where that resolution that we supported is up for a vote. I think you sent that to us, Sandy, right? Or maybe I saw that on their website. You sent us something about the 31st, didn't you, with a list? Sandy, you're on mute. No.
In recent, it could, I mean, it could be on that list if that's when they meet next. I don't remember the date.
I could have sworn you sent us something.
Well, I probably sent it every week. I get like their legislative agenda. So I probably sent it, but didn't look at it thoroughly.
Oh, yeah,
before I
yeah.
sent it.
You know where I think I saw it in your, you sent your October 2022 legislative highlights email. And I think I just followed the link on that and found the council resolution as up for the vote on that date.
Okay, we'll have to follow it.
Here, actually, I'm pulling it up now. Let me, all of they make everything so hard. Like you click the link for the county council meeting and you'd think they would just have like an agenda or list of legislation right there on that page, but there isn't. Then you have to click another link and then you get to an agenda. I think that was CR 189, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay, I have it here. So CR 189 is on the agenda for
10
October
a.m.
31st, 10
10
a.m.
a.m.
Yeah. So I did get it. I got it from following that link in your email and then finding the agenda and, and then clicking on the agenda. So I'll
Okay.
still give you credit for it, because had you not sent
Thank
that, I
you.
wouldn't have clicked that link.
Yeah, I'll take the credit.
All right, very good. So that's the latest on that. Which takes us right into, I guess, the board chair report. So not a huge amount to report. Sandy and I have been in touch with Klein about the Village Center. Actually, we sent a few compliments, because if you haven't noticed, it's looking a bit spiffier lately. The white paint is turning white again. They've been doing pressure washing and fixing rotten wood and cleaning things up. The other nice thing about the Village Center is we're probably about 30 to 45 days out from having our Latin American themed restaurant open in the site of the former Venari's and NYC Pizza. Devin sent an email back to me a few days ago saying he'll talk to the owner of that future business and see when they're ready to share more information about who they are and what they are and fun stuff like that. Because I said to Devin, once we learn about them, we can help get word out to the community, and we can talk to our aides to our county council member or our county executive, and maybe get someone out to do like a little grand opening or something like that. So he's going to make sure that he gets in touch with the owner and figures out what they want to do with. So definitely coming soon, definitely coming sooner rather than later, based on the schedule he gave me. Actually this was last week, so 30 to 45 days at the time. So maybe 20 some to 30 some days at this point until that new place opens. I think we reported this last time, but the amendment to the FDP for the 7-Eleven has been filed. So now the process starts for the site development plan. It could be about another 6 months before that is heard and fully approved, and they can start work on things. So for anyone who was thinking, my gosh, that's a long time, when they said it might be 2 or more years out before it's constructed and fully open for business. Well, That's part of the reason why it takes time to get through the county's process to get everything approved before they can even do everything. But I mean, everything is moving. From what we're hearing, everything is moving along as it should. It's just a matter of them following the county's process and responding as necessary to what the county needs as they schedule things. And I think that's everything I had from the board chair perspective, unless there were any questions for me. All right. Ginny had emailed before the meeting to say that she was coming out of another meeting and would be running late. It looks like she might be running quite late, so we will skip over the Columbia Council report. If she gets here in time, we can loop back to her, but otherwise we'll go on to the village manager report.
Okay, I'm not muted. So the big thing was the free tree giveaway, and Oakland Mills now has 40 new trees planted on yards. It's about a quarter of what was removed this year, but that's nice. And I will tell you, it was probably the happiest people I've ever seen in Oakland Mills. Everyone was so excited to get their free trees. And it was very easy the way I did it, where they said they wanted a tree but didn't reserve a specific type, so that and with the dates and hours, accommodating different people's schedules by being there on a Saturday, and then we actually had people come on Sunday. So I will definitely ask John McCoy to keep us on the list to do this every year, because every year there's a lot of trees that are being taken away. I emailed John McCoy just yesterday because I wanted to follow up on the cash reserves that for FY21, which was the Long Look Lane project. Like, is it done? Did you use the money? And to find out, how, tell them that we will also have a lot of money in FY22 that's already at CA. They've taken it away from us. And so we need to start the project for that. But also reminding him about Stevens Forest Pond, that's an outstanding issue. And so I haven't heard back, but I copied Jonathan and Bill. So I just didn't want that to just fall through the wayside, and then they'd have 2 years of cash reserve money and we'd see no projects done. So I think we need to keep on top of that. And Karina took upon herself with her job to ask Sam's and Pizza Man, and of course to mow it, the vacant lot. And I'm really pleased that Pizza Man is doing all the things on their list to do. I mean, they keep their grounds very nice, but they've painted some wood things, taken down some badly rotted wooden structures, replaced tiles in their not drive-through area. So that's good. And there's still a little more, but she's working with them. And Sam Smart painted the soffit or the blue around there and is cleaned up around their site. So that was all good. And Walgreens has bushes that had died that she is put them on notice and working with them to replace those bushes, because that was part of their site development plan, along with a lot of other issues she's dealing with. But that's what is going on. That's also good. And I know Brigitta's here if she wanted to talk about any of the things she's working on. I give her some of my time. What is the proper word for that?
Seed?
Yeah, I cede you my time, Brigitta.
Oh, sorry. I've been here. I've just been doing multiple things while I've been listening. Just one thing I wanted to say, we are coming kind of to a slowdown for the other barn weddings and events. But if you haven't seen it already, be sure to check out a wedding that took place this past Friday. It's just beautiful colors with the October courtyard as well as upstairs, and they agreed to let us use and share their photos. So I put them up on our Facebook page, and then Sandy, I know, shared them on the Oakland Mills Village page. And we'll also be using some of them on the website, as well as I've put out a request to all of our events from this past year to have them share photos. So we'll be sorting through those that come in and picking ones that really highlight, the best parts about the other barn and how it's used as a wedding facility. I did set up the holiday events. I know I said I'd have them ready by last week, but the other, the rentals kind of took over my time again, but the Eventbrite events are set up for both Breakfast with Santa, which is actually being called, oh, Sandy, I forgot the name we called it.
Treats and crafts with Santa.
Treats and crafts, because we've kind of revised what we're doing a little bit. And the gingerbread house decorating is also set up. So tomorrow I'll be putting out
Oh, and the holiday
a whole-
lights.
whole flyer, etc., about all of the upcoming holiday events and when the tickets will go on sale. So be on the lookout. I promise you, I promise you it will be out tomorrow or Thursday. So it'll be advertised to the community. And the holiday light show and the gingerbread house are open to everyone. The holiday light show will not require any tickets. You can just come and stop by. And the treats with and crafts with Santa, it is open. We're specifically targeting Oakland Mills residents. If we have additional tickets left over we do have a limited number of tickets, less than we have sold in the past. But if we have tickets left over, then we certainly will open it up to the general public. But initially, it's just for Oakland Mills residents, because most villages are having some sort of holiday event that is specifically focused for their village. So, you know, everybody tends to be covered in that regard. And that's all that I have.
Thank you.
So I have a question. I want to know when we're finally going to haunt the other barn at the end of October.
Mm.
Well, I guess
What, have a
years,
Halloween event? What are you talking
yeah,
about?
years
Yeah.
ago they used to do that. That would be kind of interesting. You know, a spooky other barn because of all of its history.
Yeah, it would be.
Uh-huh.
I
Next
guess
year.
years ago, before my time, they did events on Halloween. Sandy, I don't know if you were there then, but then I guess, I don't know, I guess because the schools did so much and there were so many October and Halloween events, I think they got away from it. But something like that, as far as a spooky the other barn, I think that would be a
It
lot
could
of
be fun. We'll
fun.
put it in
I-
our,
Honestly, I was just saying that to see if you would quit on the spot, but a part of me also thinks, oh my
no, I think it would
gosh,
be cool.
it could be a it's, I mean, that place
That
could
building
get
is
pretty creepy.
spooky on
Yeah,
its
that building
own.
could be pretty
Yes.
spooky.
I mean, it's scary to anyone at night, even us. So
Mhm.
yeah,
That could be fun.
All right.
you
Thank
can
you
be
very
in charge,
much.
Jonathan. You and your family of spooky people at Halloween.
I've heard Jonathan's house is the place to be on Halloween.
Yeah, you can use some of your Halloween decorations, kind of donate some of them.
You'll regret you brought this up.
Come on over Saturday night. Lynn?
So I just wanted to give kudos to Sandy and everyone who worked on the tree giveaway, because I heard from a couple of people that it was an absolute model for good organization, that it just.
It was.
really
No,
went
thank you. It was very easy, and I kept everyone informed about when and where and how to get trees. And the first day, most of the people came, and they all brought helpers to carry, because I kept saying, no one's there to help you.
Mhm.
And they all listened, and that was really good.
Very good.
So,
All right.
yeah, it was good.
Anything else, Sandy?
Nope. You're
Okay,
really on good time tonight, though, I'll tell you that.
let's go on to our committee reports. Anything architecture, Lynn?
Yeah, just briefly, that we were talking after the RAC meeting last Thursday about ways, and I don't know if Dave Smith he's still on, and I don't know if Mike Vaughn is the Mike Vaughn, if Mike is the Mike Vaughn.
I don't think so.
But we were talking about ways that we might do an addendum to our RAC to our application for external alterations, or kind of look it over and make it a little clearer and easier for residents to follow, so that we can get really complete. We've been getting some really wonderful, really complete, easy to follow applications, and then others not so much. And Dave, do you want to say anything? Anything additional to that?
No, the thing I recall talking about was how to handle the requirement, the county's requirement that any deck larger than 25 square feet, which is about the size of my bathroom, to have a building permit. And the concern that we have that at times the application may be for one type of deck, and after getting the permit, if we approve it and then they get the permit and the county makes substantial changes in it, then we've approved a deck that doesn't get built. So we talked about the possibility of adding some sort of language that makes our approval subservient to or dependent upon the county permit getting granted.
Yeah, and I had a message from Mike today that I think that he contacted CA and to get some sort of wording that we can use about in regard to liability. So some of the concerns are if somebody builds something and it's actually not on their property, if it's on CA property, on a neighbor's property. And what we've looked at is the site plan that they've given us. And if we approve it and then it ends up being in violation, where does that leave us? So there are just some new things that have kind of popped up, or we're looking at them newly. We're kind of giving a different look at them now, and maybe prompted a little bit by CA's concern about encroachment on CA property. But so we should be getting CA Legal is going to be giving us some advice on that. So happy about that. And that's about it. So I'll report back as this progresses, as we have, more information as to how we might change things and propose some things that we might do. And that's it.
All right, thanks. Any questions for Lynn? All right, education. Well, the education committee did meet tonight. It was a meeting of two. Thank you, Abby, for remembering, because I lost track of days and dates and kind of forgot to put out the reminder that we had an education meeting tonight. So I guess it does pay to put out the reminders. So actually, for the most part, well, we talked a little bit just about the capital process and what might happen with the middle school and the high school when 24 and 26 come around. And actually, we talked a bit about the donation requests and just the as someone else pointed out, kind of the surprising lack of applications for donations, given the needs we think are still out there in the education community, among other nonprofit organizations. But we also think that it's the way Sandy handles it is very fair, right? We have our policy out on our website. We put our communications out to where they're easily and equally accessible to anyone who is keeping up with Oakland Mills Village, and then it's up to each organization to pull things together by the 15th. So I would say there's concern that we're not getting more requests because we think there's more need out there than we're seeing, but we also think that we have a fair and equitable process, and we shouldn't necessarily be going out and saying to people, hey, where's your donation request? Because we can't do that for everyone, because we don't know everyone out there who might have a need. And that was about it. It was a small meeting. Thank you, Abby, for remembering without me sending the reminder. Any education related questions? All right, and Warren is out. Rebecca, were you covering anything in the public space arena that Warren would want reported? I know you've teamed up on a couple of things.
Nope, I missed the last meeting, so no,
Okay.
I have no idea.
All right. Well, then it looks like we are on to the board bulletin board already. So since Rebecca just had to unmute to speak to me, I'll keep it right there with you. Oh, her screen went blurry. You're there. Rebecca, anything for the bulletin board? Oh, you
Nope.
remuted. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Jerome, anything? Okay. Lynn?
No,
No,
nothing from me.
All right. Bill?
Nope.
Okay. Amy? Sandy? All right. Well, I'm going to give a welcome back to Bill. It's nice to see you with us and able to sit through the meeting. So I hope that means things are progressing very well. It's good to have you back with us. And I think that concludes our agenda tonight, and we will adjourn. Thank you all very
Good night,
much.
everyone.
good night.
Good night.